Hello, this is Dr. Dave Maslach talking to you about reciprocity.com. And in this particular video, I really want to talk about the sort of anxiety that you feel when you're working on a new idea with some sort of new startup idea that you're working on. So I'm a professor of innovation, strategy, and entrepreneurship. And I'm creating this particular platform, reciprocity.com. The E is written with a 3. And what you're supposed to do is it allows you to go on there, put some of your written work up there, and somebody else can actually proofread it. They get points for that or credits from proofreading it. And then from there, those people that are actually editing and proofreading, they could eventually have their own work proofread, and then as well sort of build up and actually get to the point where they can actually start making money from that, convert those points to or credits to actually some money. I've been working at this for like a year now. It was live. The site was live for a year now. And initially, I was paying for traffic. It was too expensive, so I started doing these YouTube videos. And part of the idea is I want to do this for research to sort of build a community that is really valuing sort of the ideas that I have. But at the same time, it's a really sort of tricky thing when you do something like this. It really does make you anxious in a lot of different ways. So when I'm actually talking to you and working on it, that's totally fine. But obviously, I feel very calm and I get kind of that tunnel vision. I'm sure most of you know that feeling and you feel very calm. But I mean, a lot of life is not about working on the particular thing that you're doing. So if you're doing this and you're doing a startup kind of thing, and if you're 21, 22, 23 years old, you're probably going to spend most of your time working on the thing that you're doing. But then there's also that kind of off time that you do. And, as the older you get, you have more off time because you got commitments and things like that. And when that happens, you feel very, very anxious. And I'm always thinking about like, oh shit, what if this happens or what if that happens? And what if somebody sues me? What if somebody goes and crashes the site? Or what if, I put out these videos and people find them and they find them offensive, and all these kind of anxieties, all these thoughts go into your mind. And you spend a lot of time thinking about it. And that is the sort of downfall with creating your own particular idea, because it all kind of comes and rests on you. And it's pretty overwhelming. You get a pretty strong feeling that you get that everything sort of rests on you when you're building this thing. And I'm not sure if this is quite the same sort of feeling if you're building, maybe a in-person kind of business or one that's sort of local, where you can hustle things up and you just go get things done. But when you're creating this kind of virtual thing, where it's just kind of like YouTube videos, or you're putting like content marketing, which is like blog posts and things like that, you don't know how people are going to take this stuff, and you don't know how they're going to interpret it as like, okay, is this guy totally wasting his time? I'm a professor, and I should be spending something like that on sort of doing real research, right? But then I also know in like a lot of large companies, like Google, for example, they encourage you to spend, 10, 20% of your time working on some unusual project that could potentially do well, right? So like Gmail actually was a perfect case of that. It actually did well. And it was just a side project that somebody was working on. So you get these really conflicting sort of awful feelings that you get. And when you're working on something like this, it's true that it really does kind of get to you, and your mind start going in all directions and stuff like that. So that's one thing that I've been struggling with for the last couple of months, I guess, is sort of the anxieties that you feel. And this is probably a moment of this sort of trough of sorrow, I guess, where you start feeling all these anxieties and things that I never would have thought would have happened. But it is true that you do get these anxieties. And to know if you're going through this process, and that's actually why I'm putting out these videos, these sort of ones of telling me my own experiences and things like that. If you're going through and building your own sort of startup thing, and, maybe you are older, I'm 38, maybe you are doing this kind of on the side. Just know it's all these anxieties and sort of the mental game that you kind of get messed up in your mind. That's really just part of it. And, I do research that, and that's one thing that I do talk about, but then to sort of experience it, it's another feeling that you get. It's kind of unusual to know that, and you do get this sort of tightness, I guess, that you get in your chest, and just know that's part of it. And I don't know if it's ever going to subside. Maybe it will. Maybe you get used to it. Maybe it just becomes part of you. I don't know. And maybe at some point in the future that I can talk about that. But at this moment, I do feel really. There's a lot of moments where it's like, I wish I could do a little bit better, and I wish this thing would grow a little bit faster. But it's part of it. And that's really, truly what this is all about, is just experiencing that. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody else was well aware that this is totally a normal thing to experience. And everybody goes through it, I think. So anyways, take care. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.